Hey guys, what's up? Tacos are pretty easy, Mel. Can't go wrong with that. Hey, Hemi, what's going on, man? Can you guys hear me all right? All right, cool. Jared Walsh, Phoenix, Jose, D Temp, Daniel Pfeiffer, 04 Hemi, Mel the Nut, Phoenix. Phoenix, I'm glad to see you didn't change your name back. Hey, buddy, were you trying to food chat already? Grim90, Mel the Nut, and me. Look at me. Look, I'm typing to myself there. That's awesome. Just in case nobody wants to talk to me, I can talk to myself now. That's nice. Yeah, this is going to be a food chat. It could be a gun chat too. Could be a gun chat too, so don't worry about it. Clovertac, what's going on, brother? No computer. I'm doing it on my phone. 04 Hemi said he missed a good sized buck tonight. Shot right underneath him. One bush light work your magic. That's that's a bummer, man. It sucks to miss a buck. I've been there. I will say I'm not really sure why the text keeps fading out on me. I'm actually doing this a little different. Since I have 100 subs now, which is cool. I am able to stream straight from YouTube instead of going through a separate decoder. Um, so it's similar to what I'm used to. Text is on the side, but it fades out real quick. It's kind of weird. Yeah, 100, 104 I think I'm at right now, which is cool. Yeah. Oh, Clover was about to do a lawn chair pop. You gotta send me an email and let me know, man. I won't step on your toes next time. So Clover says the chat fades with YouTube. You need to turn your cam landscape before you start. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And we'll do that next time. For now, I just keep tapping away. It's no big deal. Excuse me too. I'm still getting over this cold. Nasty, nasty sinus infection. No food pops tonight, brother. If you want something popped, you're gonna have to look at one of the other guys that can pop around their house. I can't do that. Yeah, it's Phoenix. Food poop, not so good. That was Gary Decker the other week who was talking about having food poisoning. I'm sure I'm sure Gary Decker was doing some food poops. Not a lot, no live cooking shows tonight. But I actually thought about that. I'm I one of these nights at the restaurant. Um, Instead of doing a video, maybe we'll do like a live segment, something like that. Think about it. I mean, you guys are, I'm always looking for you guys to give me suggestions, comments, ideas, obviously for the channel. So if you guys think of something cool you'd want to do live, you'd want to see done live that we can, talk back and forth during, let me know. Jonas Cookies. Jonas, that son of a bitch called me out the other day. That bastard said, he said, I'm not a real gun guy. I'm just a cook that plays one on YouTube. Son of a bitch. I've never been accused of wearing a dress, though. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know about that guy. I'm going to get shall not be infringed tattooed across my forehead. Going to Reno, Mel the Nut. That's cool. I've never been to Reno. I don't know much about it. I would be super interested in hearing your feedback on it because I really like Vegas. We went out to Vegas. What's going on, Ghost? I went to Vegas a couple of years ago. My wife and I with some friends, and we had a blast. I thought it was really cool. It's the kind of place there's always something going on, you know? And that's kind of neat, kind of different from what I'm used to. Blue dress cookies, says Grim. That is not a bad idea at all. We might have to do that. Phoenix says, just go under siege on his butt. I'm going to leave Jonas's butt out of this. I want nothing to do with Jonas's butt. One of you guys can handle that. His butt shall not be infringed. So we're going to give it a couple minutes here, and then another 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll start bullshitting here. You guys have any questions? You know, obviously this is the time and the place. If you're going to turn something into a food chat, it might as well be this one. Good ratatouille recipe. Hemi, I don't really have a recipe for it, but I can discuss it. I actually do it when we do banquets or buffets. I do it a lot as a veg because it holds up really well in like a chafer, you know, in a hot pan. So yeah, I can talk about that in a couple minutes. Mel says he's been to Reno. Reno's like a mini Walmart version of Vegas, but at least you're close to Tahoe, which is beautiful. Well, nothing wrong with that. I mean, a Walmart version of Vegas doesn't even sound all that bad. It sounds like it still could be pretty fun. Ratatouille it's kind of a neat thing. Hemi, one of the things that's kind of a shame is some of the recipes you see just tend to be a bunch of stuff thrown in a pot and cooked like crazy. And it turns out to just be like tomato vegetable soup. I do it roasted and do it all kind of separate and marinated, so it does turn out really neat. And yeah, we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, and it's really, really simple. It's not something you have to overthink. And I guarantee it, if you're well, I mean, we're kind of losing the summertime now, and we're into the fall, but during the summertime, you just throw all sorts of stuff together because you know, there's all sorts of farmers markets and stuff out there. It's awesome. Phoenix says banquets, like those $1 TV dinners. $1 is pushing the budget, man. If I can stay under $1, I will. So Hemi says, no, I want it legit, not somebody's hodgepodge or retake on it. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that. Let's see what else we got here. Doug DA says he used to live in Reno and Tahoe. That's awesome. Seems like a great place to live out there. Mel says there's still gambling and drinking, so it's fun. No big deal. That's good. So, we got 13 people watching so far. That's pretty cool. I'm hoping to make this time. Oh, John's here. Christ. Now what do we do? Who invited John? Did one of you guys tell John we were doing this tonight? All right, well, I guess we'll just push on, struggle through it. Mr. John Bloomberg is here, everybody. So, Banjo. Well, okay, so I got Clovertac saying ban John, and I got Grim saying free John. So I don't know who to believe. I mean, I did make Grim a moderator, so I guess I got to go with him. I don't know. South Carolina, where the men are men and the cats are afraid, says Phoenix. Yeah, there's a county up here that's kind of rural where it's called Perry County. It's like our little Arkansas, and yeah, we used to joke growing up that it was Perry County where men are men and so are the women, or where men are men and the sheep are afraid. So I'm right with you on that one. Jared says New York safe John. Mel wants to know what my signature dish is. What do I really enjoy cooking? You know, since I've been at the place I'm at now, we've been doing Asian American and have really taken to it a lot. It's been a ton of fun. Um, so I would, I have a hard time picking a signature dish. You know, because sometimes the dishes that you like the best aren't the ones that tend to be the most popular. Sometimes the ones that you like the best flop, honestly. Um, so we like to cater to what people like. Our sea bass dish is our most popular dish on the menu. We do it with a sweet chili and soy glaze over a soba noodle with like a sesame soy broth dressing broth. It's a very light sauce, and then we do a white miso cream and toasted sesame seeds. um, so that's one of my favorite dishes, and it's funny that I've never honestly been thoroughly. I've never felt like I was thoroughly finished with a dish. We did it as a special, and everybody loved it. So it just took off and it actually went on the menu, and now it's our entree. It's been for years. It's been our most highest selling entree. So it's kind of funny. Sometimes the ones that you think are done, people don't go for, and the ones that you think are, you know, should be better are super popular. Um, so let's see. Doug had some crab frozen microwave pepper beef for dinner. Yeah, we used to have a pepper beef on the menu too. We did it with our Chinese brown sauce, homemade Chinese brown sauce that I came up with fresh cracked black pepper. We used to use chunks of ribeye, which is really nice because it stays pretty tender. Yeah, Mad Sexy Man of the Night, aka Not Other Matt, is here. See that? How you doing, buddy? Oh, for him, he had few eggplant fries. You mean like French fries, or like fried eggplant? Because I've tried to do. What's up, Matt? What's I've done fried eggplant in like French fry kind of form, like sticks, and it's kind of hard to do. The breading kind of wants to fall off on them. You definitely have to cut them. I like to peel them. They work better when I peeled the skin off and let them sit in some paper towels for a little while to dry out. So that way, when they fry, they don't give off so much moisture. Ghost Tactical. Phoenix says Ghost Tactical deep fried Twinkie on a stick. That's some carnival food right there. That just screams carny. D-Temp wants to know if I've had milkfish. No, I don't think. Deep fried Oreos, mad sexy, I have had. And I didn't, I have not loved, as much as I like to fry stuff, some of those weird fried things I haven't really loved. The Oreos tend to get really, really soft, and it's kind of a bummer inside. I didn't think it was as good as it should have been. But D-Temp, have milkfish. What is milkfish? Is there another name for it? Because there's a lot of fish out there that have multiple names, and that's kind of uh, you see that throughout the years. They'll change names, call it something different, something that's a little more marketable, maybe. So milkfish might be called something else. Who knows? Clovertac says he fries sliced eggplant with a seasoned cornmeal breading. Yeah, cornmeal's great. If you do cornmeal, a lot of times, if I do cornmeal, I'll use like cornmeal, like a fine ground, and I'll cut it with a little bit of flour. It tends to not be as brittle then. Sometimes when you cornmeal crust stuff, and you fry it, it'll actually crack and break. So I cut it with a little bit of regular, just all-purpose flour, and that helps to make the breading not so delicate. So let's go back to John Z says, I know fresh fish that ain't so fresh, and they call themselves different names all the time, so the cops don't get them. Yeah. Is somebody, are you guys lagging? Clovertac says the key to fresh fried squash, eggplant, maters, squash, etc. is just a little sugar. Really brings the flavor out. Mad Sexy says, I love deep fried broccoli with vodka batter. That's not how you spell batter, you fool. Oh my gosh, Gary Decker's here. We were talking about you earlier. Did you hear us talking about you? Were your ears burning? Gary. So John Z says, no lag here, just gas farts. The deep fried broccoli is great. I love breaded broccoli. I love breaded mushrooms. Um, if you roast that stuff ahead of time too, and then bread it and fry it really quick, it works great. Mushrooms especially, because if you cut them too big, then they're just raw in the middle. So it's nice to have them, you know, done a little bit more. So let's go back to what were we? Who was it? It was 04 Hemi. Was talking about Ratatouille, which I mean, I would have never thought anybody would have called me, hit me up on the chat and said, "Hey, how do you do Ratatouille?" That's pretty cool though. So what we're gonna do, what we'll talk about here, Ratatouille is a dish usually done as a side, but not always. Sometimes it's served almost like a vegetarian main, like a main dish, main course. Mad Sexy says Ratatouille. It's spelled much different than that, but you did say your spelling sucks, so I will let you slide on that one. Phonetics is great. I mean, at least that'll get the point across. So it is vegetarian. When I do mine, now I will say this: a lot of, as a chef, I don't necessarily focus on classics, or how a dish technically should be quote unquote done. I just kind of make it my own, which is nice. I mean, there are no food police. I always tell my guys that. They say, can we do this or can we do that? I say, sure, why not? There is no food police. Nobody's going to kick in the goddamn door to the restaurant and tell you you can't do that as long as you're, working safely. So, Ratatouille tends to be a dish that is like a one pot dish. Garlic, tomatoes, usually you see zucchinis and squashes, root vegetables, stuff like that. Um, and then it's sometimes kind of saucy and kind of soupy, sometimes kind of chunky. I kind of go about it a different way. I add a little bit more technique to it, probably. So, Hemi, you still out there? I'm talking about this for you. If you're not out there, I won't. I'll find something else. You still there, Hemi? Oh wait, you're the one that said it had the lag. I don't know, whatever. So, I don't know why I worried about it. So, okay, so I'll take carrots, and the carrots are about the only thing that I'll cook ahead of time. And what I try and do is get everything to cook about the same time, so that it's about the same doneness. Um, blanch it ahead of time or whatever. So I'll take carrots, celery, red onions usually, um, zucchini, yellow squash, tomatoes. There you go, Hemi. I see you. Tomatoes, and I'll cut it all up, maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Okay. Um, I'll also do. This is a great quote unquote kind of what I call like a garbage can dish. If you have anything that you need to get rid of, turnips would work good. Broccoli stems. If you go and you get broccoli from the grocery store, save the stems, peel them, and chunk them up. Broccoli stems are awesome. They're super, super sweet. They work great in slaws, or just to chunk them up and saute them. Broccoli stems are great. They have a really good texture, almost, like tender but crisp. Really good. So any veg will work. I throw eggplant in there and I throw mushroom in there usually. So all that different stuff. Um, but the carrots are the only ones I'll blanch ahead of time. So I'll blanch them in a little boiling water just for maybe 3 minutes, and then toss them in a large stainless steel bowl or a large bowl with everything else. Hit it with a little salt and pepper, a little garlic, and a little. Phoenix has never been called a garbage dish, garbage disposal a few times. I know the feeling. Um, and I use a little balsamic vinaigrette. Now we make our own, but you don't have to. You can buy. There's some really great stuff on the market now, but I mean, it could be as simple as I don't know a recipe off the top of my head, but if you have a blender at home, you throw a tablespoon of Dijon, tablespoon of Dijon, half a cup of balsamic vinegar, maybe a teaspoon of garlic, teaspoon of salt and pepper, um, tablespoon of honey, and 2 cups of oil or something like that, and then adjust it to taste. Pour that on your veg, the raw veg, toss it around, and give it overnight to marinate. Just throw it in the cooler, the refrigerator, and then the day of, whenever you're going to use it, give yourself at least half an hour, 45 minutes with it. Set your oven kind of high, maybe 400 degrees, and just fire it straight in your oven. And roast it until everything is nice and tender. All right. Um, and then to order, just toss it again or throw it in a pot and simmer it for a couple of minutes and serve it. It's going to be like chunkier. It's going to be drier. It's not going to be soupy. It's not going to be a mess like some of them on the market, or some places do, where it's almost like a stew. And that's technically the term for it, is like a vegetable stew. But I don't know. You lose a lot of the qualities of the veg when you just cook the shit out of it. Oh man, RL's here. What's going on, RL? Travis P11 is here. What's going on, Travis P11? Got a nice group of people in here. Man, Travis says, "Can I get a pot roast gravy recipe real quick?" Are you talking about using your pan drippings? That's or are you doing it from like? Okay? So, all right. So probably here's what I like to do. I like to use as much of the natural stuff as possible. Okay, so you do a pot roast. It probably has some fat on it. You're gonna, even whether you do it in a crock pot or you do it in the oven, doesn't really matter. What I would do: roast it, cook it, or braise it. Basically, you're probably gonna braise it. Take it, and let it rest for maybe 5 minutes or so. Um, he says it's from the Instant Pot steam cup of juice. Oh, you have that pressure cooker, right? That's what you're talking about. You just got a pressure cooker. Cool. Yeah. So open that bitch up and let it rest for a couple of minutes, and whatever fat comes out of that is going to rise to the surface. What I would do is just take a ladle or something and skim that fat off. Okay. Um, and a really cool restaurant trick to get the fat off of a stock is to take a ladle, like a deep ladle, like you would serve soup with or whatever, not like a spoon, but literally like a ladle, and put a couple ice cubes in the bottom of it and dip it into the stock. And what happens is the ladle is cold because of the ice, and the fat on the surface will stick to that ladle, and then you can wipe it off, and then do it again, do it again, do it again. That's a really old school trick to get the fat off the top of a sauce or a soup. You can do it with a soup too. If you make a homemade soup and it's got a little oil slick on the top, like sometimes if you make like an Italian wedding soup or something, it has that little film of fat on the top that, it's flavor, it's good, but when you eat it, it can taste greasy in your mouth. Ice cubes in a ladle, dip it right off, and you look at the bottom of the ladle, and there'll be a layer of fat stuck to the bottom or cooled to the sticking to the surface. So, but what I would do, if you can, is take that fat, put it into a second pot. Flavor crystals, not flavor crystals, they're flavonoids. I don't know, flavor pouches. I don't know, little fat molecules. Um, So put them in a second pot, or that fat. If there's enough of it to do the roux out of that, go ahead. Um, but if there's not, just add a little bit of butter to it, a little pat of butter. You could add oil too, but butter is going to be, it's going to give you a lot better flavor. Um, so, okay, you got the butter, you got the fat. Um, if there's any veggies you want to put in there, you want to put some diced onion, you want to put some diced garlic, chopped onion, chopped garlic. Um, that would be a great. Yep, there you go, Phoenix. You could add a little bacon fat. You could render down if it cornstarch. Travis B. Levin says, "I'll tell you why I don't like cornstarch in a minute." Um, so you want to take that, add a little bit of flour to it, and that's going to be your roux. Um, whisk it in, make sure it's smooth, and then what you want to do is bring it to the point where it looks like almost like wet sand. If you go too much farther, sometimes it's hard to get the lumps out. But if it's wet sand, then it's a little bit looser. Uh, the Doug says, "T, are you having a bad hair day, or is this what you're going for?" Just kidding. My hair looks like Trump's only gray, so it's like a crazy comb over, crazy creamy fold over. It's kind of like this, and when the wind blows, it goes. No, I've got a mohawk. I do. I did that for one of my first competitions. I did it as a joke, and it stuck. You know, and I've talked about just cutting it off many, many times, and I haven't. And then when my son was born, we used to give him little mohawks, so we matched. But back to the gravy. The gravy is the important part. Um, Midnight, what's the downside to being a chef? Not a chief, but a chef. Um, there's a lot of them, buddy. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the chats, and I've been in a few of them, and in the rooms or whatever. I'm always at work when you guys are having fun. It's tough. It's a very, very tough job, and it's you give up a lot to do it. You miss a lot of family time. I miss my wife and I miss my little guy so much. But it's a labor of love, and you could say for sure. And it's what I've always wanted to do. Even when I was really, really young, I was 10, 11 years old. My parents would say, "What do you want to be?" I want to be a cook. I want to be a cook. I don't know why. It was just inner. It was in me. It was just something that I always automatically, went towards. And I'm old enough that I was Food Network generation. So when I was young, Galloping Gourmet, Martin Yan, Bobby Flay just started coming out. He was on Grillin' and Chillin', which was a fun show. Um, Mario Batali was just on Food Network, and it's before Food Network was big. So, Emerald, you know. So it gave me, motivation to do it, whereas people a little bit older than me didn't have that. So there are a lot of guys like me that grew up, food work, like I said, I like to say the Food Network generation. Back to the gravy at hand. Um, so what you're going to do is you're going to take that stock that you've made, basically from the drippings, hand drippings, and you're going to whisk that into the roux. Now, you got to be super, super careful, because if you add hot stock to a hot roux, it wants to seize up like that. Okay. If you have a cold roux, you could whisk that into a hot stock. Um, or if you have a cold stock, you can whisk that into a hot roux and it's not as temperamental. But when you go hot into hot, it can really seize up on you and you can really get some like dough balls floating around in there. So you want to go super slow with that. Use a good whisk, something with thin wire whisk, like a balloon whisk or something like that, not like something really thick and cheap. Um, so you whisk that in there, and the amount is going to be I mean, I can't tell you exactly how much, off the top of my head. But I would say that you should probably grab a can or two or a carton or whatever of beef stock from the grocery store to have. Make a little bit more, and if it's a little thick, you can thin it out with that. Get the low sodium. It's the way to go. Now, you want to bring it up to a simmer. A roux is not as thick as it's going to be until it is brought up to a simmer. If you don't bring it up to a simmer, it's not going to be as thick as it should be, and it'll taste floury. You got to cook it out for a couple of minutes. So what I like to do is add a little bit more of that beef stock, make it a little thinner than maybe you think it should be, and then reduce it down over maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that's your gravy. I know it's a long-winded explanation, but I mean I want to make sure I go through all the pitfalls. Now you said about cornstarch. Cornstarch is much faster. You can whisk cornstarch. It's a slurry. It's called a slurry when you have cornstarch and water, cornstarch and milk, cornstarch and whatever. You can whisk that straight into a hot stock or soup or whatever, and it will thicken as soon as it comes up to a boil. And it generally doesn't have to be cooked out as much, but it does give it a little bit of starchy flavor, um, which is why I don't like it. I really only like it for sweets, for desserts. And cornstarch will always make your finished product two things. One, it will always make your finished product have like a glassy texture glassy finish to it. So if you make a gravy with flour or a sauce with flour, I had a one of my culinary instructors. If you said gravy, he'd be like, "Dude, your mama makes gravy. We make sauce." So keep that in mind. You're making sauce. You're not making gravy, unless you're making gravy for like your mom. That's gravy. So gravy will give you a nice thickness, and it'll be rich, and it'll be like a duller look finish to it. Mad Sex is going to work. See you, brother. And then if you use cornstarch as a slurry, it'll have like a shiny texture to it that I don't really like. It makes it look fake. It makes it look like a store bought, because a lot of times they're using some kind of thickening agent like arrowroot or cornstarch or some sort of emulsifier. 04 Hemi says midnight. Oh, hey, you retracted your message. What the hell did you say? Something about freezing gravy. You can freeze gravy. I don't know. Maybe you're being a smartass. I don't know. Grim's out there. Grim's my band hammer. He'll get you. He gonna get you. That's why I don't like cornstarch. Second thing about cornstarch too, it will settle out of the emulsification or the solution. If you do pastry cream or pudding with cornstarch, eventually, if you let it sit for a couple of days, it will begin to separate. So it's not a permanent emulsifier or a permanent mixture. Flour is more permanent. Yeah, Hemi said, yeah, we froze gravy once. Oops, hold on. Hemi says, we froze gravy once and tried reheating it, and it was runny and not good at all. Was that a homemade gravy, Hemi? And if it was a homemade gravy, how did you thicken it? RL says, if you don't get it smothered and covered, that's just un-American. So it was I forget what I asked now. Was it homemade? So it wasn't homemade. So it was a store-bought gravy. Yeah. Um, um, yeah. If you don't get it smothered and covered, that is slightly un-American. I know we did the chat the other week on Matt's, and Denny's was one of my top non-nice restaurants. I forget what the hell the chat was. Was it chain restaurants? Can't go wrong with Denny's at like 3 a.m. Hemi says it. Hemi says it was. No, I'm not picking my nose. I'm scratching the side of my nose. It's like a lawn chair pop. Anything goes. Um, Hemi says it was from Grandma. Sure, it was store bought. Yeah. Um, it was probably thickened with something like that, or it was like a bought thing. Yeah, sometimes when you heat them up, they get super weird. If you thicken it with flour and you reheat it, they usually heat it. They usually reheat really great, especially if you do it yourself. Or else here says Hemi froze gravy once, just once. Or Grim says TV dinner. What about a TV dinner? Nothing wrong with TV dinners. That's right. So I will like this. I mean, I one of the things I wanted to say at the very beginning was, um, and I did say this a little bit, I guess, maybe before you guys were here. Some of you were here, but I did um, crack the 100 sub mark, which is awesome. I think I have like 104, um, and I appreciate that a lot. And it's really cool. Um, the last couple came pretty quick, which is good. Yeah, thank you, Gary. It seemed like forever. I was at like 20 and 30, and then it starts jumping up really quick. It was really really exciting, really cool. Clovertac, you do get a lot of the credit, buddy. You, Ghost, Matt, Travis P11, you guys have all helped me out a lot. Letting me on the show and giving me some shout outs and putting up with my garbage, my bullshit. I really appreciate it. It's been really fun so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Something that goes along with that too is Patreon. Um, I've got 5 Patreon followers now, which is awesome. Um, I want to give them a shout out too. It's really it really feels good to have people want to support you and that are willing to help you out a little bit. Um, and as of late, I haven't done a whole lot of videos. It's been a little while. Things at work have been crazy. I lost a couple of staff. Um, yeah, I mean, Phoenix says shenanigans, monkey shines, whatever. Shenanigans is a place from Office Space. That's a restaurant too. Um, shout at the Patreons, channeling my inner crew. Clovertac says, yeah. So Ghost Tactical was number one. He was the one that he said, "Hey, if you open up a Patreon account, I'll support you." So that was a great feeling, and so Clovertac. I mean, sorry, not Clovertac. Sorry, Ghost Tactical. Smaggy 42. Smaggy 42 is a sous chef level. That means once a month he can tell me an ingredient to use, which is really cool. Travis P11, Cycle Camp, and Mr. Gary Decker out there, our culinary Russian roulette player from last week. We talked about a little bit. How you feeling, Gary, by the way? I mean, just the next person who says shenanigans is going to get pistol whipped from Super Troopers. It's been forever since I've seen that. That's a great movie. Phoenix says he always calls Ghost Tactical Space Ghost for some reason. Space Ghost. That was a good show back in the day. Gary's feeling better. Oh God, you're still eating gizzards, Gary? What is? Oh my God, Gizzard Gary. That's it. You're Gizzard Gary. No more Gary Decker. Gary Decker. You're Gizzard Gary from now on. Sorry, I'm gonna write that down. We're gonna write that down. I gotta remember Gizzard Gary. That way we won't get you confused with Gary the Clock, I guess, too. So that's nice. Um, yep, you got to change it. Jorge says, so what's the name of that restaurant you like to go to? Are you talking to me? Or talking to Gary Decker? Wherever, I don't know that you want to go where Gary goes. He's eating fried gizzards all the time, man. It can't be. It's got to be a hole in the wall. Gary Decker. Yeah, you got to come up with a good avatar. Maybe just a big chicken head with a little chicken neck down there or something. That'd be good. It's the chicken house in Olpe, Olpe, Olpe. Probably not Olpe. Probably Olpe. Sounds Olpe. So, um, so the Patreon guys, I just want to give them a shout out here quick. Um, next is Olpe. Olpe. Sounds like something Clovertac would say. Olpe. That's an old P. That's a new P. That's an old P. No chicken choking avatar. No, can't do that. So next thing is I want to do show and we didn't do it last week. Kind of think that show and tell is kind of a cool thing for you guys. Um, I know when I get something new, I like to show it off. I like to talk about it. So if anybody in the room has anything new, um, gun wise, prep wise, knife wise, you know, hell, this is a food chat, so equipment wise for the kitchen, now would be the time. We'll talk about it a little bit. Talk about it. Tell us what you got. Where you got it, cost, whatever, whether you like it or not, pitfalls, good things, bad things. If anybody has anything new, now's a good time. So just throw it in the chat. Um, Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. Just wanted to open up something here and see if you guys had any questions. We had a pretty good chat so far. Got a lot of information out there. Clovertac said he bought a carambit. Is it carambit? Carambit with with Bitcoin. What are my thoughts on ceramic knives? Um, I've had one ceramic knife, and it felt so cheap in my hand. I couldn't do it. I hated it. Um, I know there's other people that really like them. This was years ago when they first started becoming popular. You couldn't sharpen them yourself. Um, you had to send them away, I think. Um, you could send them back to wherever you bought them, and I think they sharpened them and sent them back to you or something like that. I don't know if that's still how it is. Yeah, Clovertax, but you can cut a shoe with those things. Yeah, you can cut a penny in half. You can cut a boot. You can cut the hood of your car in half. No, I don't cook shoes anymore. I used to. I've made some food in the back in the day when I was young that probably tasted like an old boot, but I'm much better now. Um, I I hope, or else as I'm kind of hoping that was a Freudian slip and kind of not too. um, I just didn't like the weight. It just felt like nothing in my hand. I just didn't like it. So yeah, Phoenix is my Ginsu infomercial. I had a Ginsu when I was in college, actually. Boy, is that thing a piece of garbage. I remember cutting something with it, and it just bent sideways. It looked like a question mark till I was done with it. It was, oh my God, it was horrible. RL says nobody wants to see Clovertac's cram butt. Cram, cram butt. Yeah, I don't. That doesn't sound good at all. Gary Decker says I should get to sous chef level so I can make him cook gizzards. Be my guest, Gary. I will cook the shit out of some gizzards for you, buddy. I'll do it. I think that's a $5 level. I think. I can make you something fun with some gizzards. Get some puff pastry, braise them up. What do I EDC? Says O4 Hemi. Generally, I always have one of my. I always have a lockback knife on me, and I said this before in a chat. My knives tend to be super cheap. We buy them at the gun show. They're like what's the brand, like Tac Force or something. They're really inexpensive. They're like $8 or $9 you can buy them. Because I'm always banging on them, at the restaurant and cutting boxes with them, and you're hitting staples and you're dropping them and stuff like that. And when you're doing that, so I tend to keep pretty cheap, so I don't have to worry about them. They get lost and they end up wandering off. Wandering off with somebody else every once in a while. So I always have a knife, my cell phone, my wallet. I usually have a ton of business cards and shit in my pocket when I'm heading to work. And then, my carry gun for right now is I have a Burst of Thunder Ultra Compact 40, which I really liked when I bought it, and I do like it. But as a carry gun, I kind of decided it's a little heavy for me. I have a hard time carrying with my work pants because they're just light. I don't wear a belt with them. So I'm actually kind of in the market for something else. It's a 10-round 40, which is really nice. And I like to have the 10 rounds at least. I'd like to keep it 10 rounds, and I do like 40 a lot. I like having the extra punch over the 9, and the capacity over the 45. Clover says, "Why do you need pants to be a chef?" You don't need pants to be a chef, but you should wear pants in the kitchen. I have worn shorts in the kitchen a couple times. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. There's a lot of hot stuff in the kitchen. I learned that the hard way. Just like drinking in the kitchen. Horrible idea. Don't drink in the kitchen. O4 says, "Love my Gerber 06. I don't leave my house without it. Big and expensive, but I'll never replace it." Yeah, I used to carry a multi-tool, you see that kind of thing, and I switched to the lockback, something I can open with one hand, Cobra Commander. Where is that guy at? Pistol wise, or gun wise, I should say, I've been itching for an AR. I really want to get an AR. I'm hoping this Christmas that will be on, that'll be, what I get myself. And then I'm probably looking at polymer pistols, something a little bit lighter. I've really, and maybe somebody in the room has some. I have an AK. I don't need an AK. Well, I shouldn't say I don't need an AK. I'd like a second AK, but I'd like to get an AR. George says it's like the old saying, "Never cook bacon or ham or burgers naked." True story. Don't do that. What was I saying? Oh, the maybe somebody in here has some experience with it. The Walther PPS. I guess it's the M2 mod, which I guess Model 2, the newer version of it. I think it's the PPS, and that's in a 9mm. but I've seen really, really good things about it. And they say the trigger is great. They say it handles great. Visually, I think it's a really nice looking piece. I'd like 40 though, so I was kind of hoping for a 40. So Phoenix says the Walthers all seem top heavy. I don't mind that so much. I mean, as it's a polymer pistol. It probably makes sense that it could be a little top heavy. Grim says he thought I like 9 millimeter, a millimeter. Nah, I do like 9 millimeter. That was brilliant when I came up with that, by the way. Millimeter. That was brilliant. I do like nines. I don't have anything against nines other than I prefer a 40. You know, the Clovertac said he did some of those cheap Walmart burger patties the other day. 183 hours, freaking amazing. Were you making like Salisbury steak? There you go. Oh God, Grim is channeling AC-97 now. Oh, 9 millimeter master race. 9 millimeter is greater than 380 spit wads. Phoenix, Gary Decker, 40 short. Gary Decker, we don't. Are you talking shit about 40s now? Oh man, I thought we were buddies. I thought we were cool, man. Um, no, I like the 40. I don't mind the little bit of recoil that you get, the added snap. It's if it's just as fast as a 40, or just if the 40 is just as fast as the 9, and it's a heavier bullet, it's a wider bullet, that's what I want. Um, yeah, Clover's is 380. I don't have a problem with 380. Honestly, I've actually recently just started to think about 380. I prefer not to get into another caliber. That's one of the reasons. I would think, if anything, I would go to a smaller 9. My wife has a Sig 938 that's really nice. I actually thought about maybe carrying that for a little while and seeing if I like that. I haven't shot it. She's shot it. Um, I'm thinking about maybe carrying that for a little while just to see if I like it, and then maybe getting one myself because they're nice. It's a really good feeling round or pistol. Butt scratcher, butt scratcher, butt scratcher, says John Z. Nice, John. You don't say anything forever. You're probably out there donating money to Bloomberg, your old man. Now you come in and say butt scratcher. It's not okay, man. RL says he prefers 9. I've carried 380 and 3 Mac before also. Yeah, nothing wrong with 380. I mean, it does. It's going to do what you need it to do. I really believe that. I mean, I think the only issue with some of those lighter rounds is just penetration in the winter, and they're just not they're not all that fast. They just don't have the speed and the mass. But I don't know. I think as long as I think having it on you and being comfortable carrying it is more important than the caliber. You know. Let me go back here. I feel like I might have missed something. Oh, 4 Hemi says get a wheel gun, 357 mag. I do want a wheel gun. I don't have a revolver, and I've really sort of gravitated towards the Rugers, the what GP 100s. Seem like a good buy, you know. Um, and they for all intents and purposes, for everything I've heard, they're really good pieces. D-Temp says he has a Nano and 9 millimeter. Those are nice. Gary Decker carries a 380 every day. Nothing wrong with that. Phoenix says 500 Smith and Wesson because why? Yes, darling. I am happy to see you. Yeah, well, that'll teach you. Gary's never shot a 40, but he's just giving me a hard time. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you for giving me a hard time. That's what I need. More people to give me a hard time. Yeah, I was never a huge fan of wheel guns. I've shot a few. First pistol I ever shot was a 22 revolver. It was my grandpa's when I was a kid. Um, I just gravitated towards autos. Um, but recently I've started to want to want to pick one up. Hemi says he drank the Yankee Kool-Aid and bought a rhino. I actually really like the looks of the rhino too. I really do. I when he started putting out videos on it, I really liked it. I think it's cool looking, and excuse me. I think that they definitely do what they're supposed to. Mitigate some of the recoil. You know, RL says, anyone got a weird EDC? I rock a Star M43, probably more than anything else. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with one else with one. Yeah, they're pretty rare. I mean, I've seen them. I've never held one. They're modeled after something else, aren't they? I can't remember. I'm trying to picture them. They look like something else, the stars, but I don't remember what it is. Gary likes the look of the rhino, but the price is a little high. Yeah, that is a bummer. I mean, you're looking at they're like $800, right? Or plus. They're like that's a lot for a revolver. It's a lot of money. Yeah, Phoenix wants a rhino because it reminds me of the gun from Blade Runner. I didn't see Blade Runner, but it was the gun from Suicide Squad. Harley had the rhino. That was pretty cool. Hemi said he ordered his without ever seeing it. No regrets. I believe it. I think they're pretty cool. I really do. I've never seen one in a store. Um, so I don't know. I've never handled it. I feel like you should handle one at least once, before you order one in. Unless it's somewhere that doesn't mind if you order it in and you don't keep it. Some places get super weird about that. They get cranky. Gary says he might buy another gun when his daughter decides to stop hitting deer on the highway. My dad hit 3 deer in 1 year when I was a kid. Freaking crazy. Phoenix says his commander is probably the most vanilla of carriers. Of carries. I mean, like it's unexciting. Like it's just utilitarian. She hit 2 in 2 weeks. That's crazy. 2 deer in 2 weeks. There, Gary said. That's $1,000, buddy. That sucks, man. RL has some Spanish guns. That's cool. 04 Hemi says, I do want a Ruger 1911 lightweight commander. I don't have a 1911 either. I've always liked them too. I I gravitate towards lots of different stuff, man. One day I want something, you know, old school, like old 1911 classic, like American, just screams Americana. And then, you know, the next it's like some like the Walther, which is a very modern looking pistol. Just go back and forth, man. I like a little bit of everything. RL says he has some llamas too. He's ordering an Astro revolver here really soon. Yeah, llamas are good. Llamas are Bursa and llama are the same, I think, right? America, fuck yeah. Gary says she works at a prison. They kind of frown on guns in the parking lot. That's a tough one. That's kind of tough because I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. That's a tough. That's tough. I feel like you should be able to carry wherever you want to carry. I think as a responsible gun owner, you should be able to carry wherever you want. Um, Especially somewhere like that. I really think that's a high danger spot. Somebody, you should be able to defend yourself there just as everywhere else. RL says Bursa was the last importer for llamas. Yeah. Yeah, he says the state law says they have, Gary says the state law that says they have to allow it, so it's a dilemma for her. Same for me at the nuclear plant. Yeah, it's like that with hospitals and stuff like that. Hospital employees or work policy says you can't carry any weapons. I know when my wife was working at the hospital. Um, but, you know, what are the, you know, they, it's, I think it's, if you're, if you want to carry, you should carry. If you want to leave it in your car, I just can't see if you're. I know when my wife was working, she had to walk a long, long way um, at the hospital to get to from where the employees had to park to, to in the hospital, and it's dangerous. I think you should be able to protect yourself. I mean, I'm sure we all think the same thing. Gary says the castle doctrine extends to your car. Employers can't legally restrict you from carrying in your vehicle. Um, I don't know. I can't really comment on that because I don't really know how it is when you're parked on private property, technically. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it or not. Clovertac, my wife doesn't, she's at home now. She stays at home, but she was a respiratory therapist at a hospital. Gary says Kansas law says that. He has researched it. Um, I would have to look it up. I wonder if Pennsylvania, I mean, we have castle doctrine also. I'm not sure if it's the same or not. Could be a good one to look up. No, John, my wife was not arrested. Why would you think my wife was arrested? Phoenix's top 3 wish list: Colt SAA, pre 64 Winchester 1873, Barrett 107A1. I said she was arrested? I don't think I said she was arrested. I said when she was at the hospital. I don't know. John, you must be sleepy. Um, Phoenix, Barrett 107A1. I actually have a buddy that comes into the restaurant. He's a lawyer. Came in one day and he had looked like 2 years ago. He just bought a Barrett. That's a that's a beast, man. That's a beast. Got a big, really nice. I think it's a Night Force scope on the top. Yeah, it's like $6 every time you pull the damn trigger, something like that. It's crazy. Um, I actually went to the range one day, pulled up into the parking lot, and this guy and his kid were walking up the gravel, the little road, and heard this boom, just hellacious boom, and I got out of my truck and this guy and his kid were walking up and the guy looks at me and goes, "Hey, You better get your ears on. There's a guy down there with a 50, and I couldn't see because it has a roof on the shooting lanes, where the lanes are. So I threw my earplugs in. I always keep like foam ones around too. So I threw some foam ones in there quick in my ears, and I started walking down, and it was a guy I know, Sean. And he was down there. There was like 10, like no, not 10, maybe 4 or 5 people just kind of standing around watching him shoot. That thing's a cannon, man. D-Temp's leaving. Thanks, D-Temp. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Clover has an Armalite AR-50A1. Phoenix is $8,000 plus price tag. You got to be a lawyer. Yeah, that's right around what he paid. I think it was right around 8,600 ish, maybe 9 grand. It's a lot of money. Patriot, you heard that too, John says. John, what are you talking about? Are you out there starting trouble still? All right. Lockjaw says, damn, I didn't even pay that much for my truck. I know, right? Isn't that crazy to think? I think like that was, you know, guys slamming down a rifle. Well, it all started too. He walked into the restaurant and he asked me one time, he goes, hey, Trav, if you ever hear of anybody that's selling a Barrett, let me know. I was like, Barrett? What do you mean a Barrett? Like a 50, like a BMG. He goes, yeah, 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 yeah. Well, what the hell do you want that thing for? That's crazy. He's like, I don't know. They're awesome. I'm like, all right, well, I'll let you know. I'm always, window shopping here and there. And like a week and a half later, he stops in and he says, it's on its way. He ordered it online. And he's like, I paid a little bit more than I should have probably, but I wanted it. I'm like, geez, good for you, buddy. I can't afford it. Holy hell. Somebody might as well have some fun with it. Clover says the 4-way shy tack rifles are sweet. Yeah, I've watched a couple of videos on some guys that are shooting those at super long ranges, like 4,000 yards, stuff like that. Crazy. No, my wife did. No, my wife didn't get arrested. She probably should have got arrested for marrying me. She probably preferred to have been arrested rather than married me. But what are you gonna do? Hindsight's 2020, right? Clovertac says food turns to guns. Yep, about darn time. It's up to you guys, man. You guys make the calls. You let me know what you want to talk about. I'm just sitting here relaxing, glad I'm not at work. Yeah. John says John says if she leaves you, he'll move in. I see. Now I thought like last week you wanted to come here, then you wanted to go live with ghosts. Now you want to live with me again. I don't know. I don't know that I want to be. I don't know. I want to be second fiddle. Maybe Ghost wants you back. I don't know. We'll have to email him. See what he thinks. Unless he's still listening, he might be out there listening. I don't know. Clovertac says, "Sorry, pardon my language. Why? What the hell did you say?" You didn't say nothing. Oh, it says about darn time. Yeah, that's a rough one. Brokeback restaurant. You know it. Take what I can get. John says this divorce stuff has really torn them apart. Yeah, I know. It's like my two dads, and now they're not getting along. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. Your dad, your dad Bloomberg gave you up for adoption. We adopted you, and now it's all falling apart. It's a travesty. That's what it is. It's a travesty. But John, you really need to get out of New York. You're so close to PA. You just hop an Uber and come on down. What about Travis P? Do you think he might take you in? That's a long way. And then go to Nebraska? Good God. He does have a nice range though. He has a nice rifle range. My range is really nice too. I'm pretty lucky. My range is pretty cool. I can't shoot over 100 yards, which is kind of a bummer. Oh, a Travis P, not a Travis D. T. I've got a sinus infection, so I'm a little snotty. Maybe it did sound like a T or a P. Who knows? Sinuses. Yeah, Hotshot 45 says you can come to Virginia. Clover says you guys live outside of Texas and talk about a long way. Yeah, Texas is pretty huge, man. How long does it take to drive from one side of Texas to the other? It's like crazy time, right? Like forever. Phoenix says, "Okay, here's the plan: rifle shoot in my backyard. Loser has to take in the John Z project." That's kind of a bummer, man. Whoever loses has to take John. It's not. You guys should 8 to 10 hours to go across Texas. That's a long way, man. You can drive across PA in three, well, probably more than that. Probably 4 hours. Winner gets to take in me. I don't know. Will you take my wife and kid too? I'll move out. We'll move down. That's cool. John says, "Don't tease me." I still think it's. I think it's a bummer that the loser gets John and not the winner. I'm the best roommate ever. I'm never home. That's true. I am like the best roommate ever. Like the best roommate and the worst husband. I'm never home. Takes Clover over 2 hours to get out of the state. I can get out of state in like 45 minutes. I head down to Maryland. RL Sears says, as a PA guy, I should come to one of the shoots he organized. We usually have lots of fun. The last two, we had a Gatling gun. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I know I just don't get a chance. It sucks because most of the shoots tend to be, um, like Saturdays and stuff like that. It's hard. It's hard to do them. My father-in-law used to have a great shoot he lives out near Pittsburgh, and they used to do what they called a polar bear shoot. Um, in the wintertime, it was always in like January or February. Um, and it was always, real cold out. They'd set up a polar bear target, silhouette target, at 100 yards with a 1 inch or a 2 inch. I think it was a 2 inch um, exploding bullseye, and you had to free shoot standing. You had to shoot standing free, and you had to use 30, basically what would be considered like you know, a a large game caliber. Like I think they said 270 or better, or 30 caliber or better. I don't remember. It might have been 270, and you could only use up to a 9 power scope, and you shot at the target. But they would do like chili and coffee and hot chocolate. Sausage sandwiches, cheese, like that kind of, peppers and onions, all that kind of stuff. And you paid like $1 or $2 per shot. That was really fun. I like doing that. You can just stand out there and bullshit. Who the hell's shooting naked? Doug said he would take me in if I cooked once a week. All right, I'll do it. John says he wants to split me 3 days. He'll take him the rest of the week. I'm not. I don't want to come to New York though, John. I'm gonna come there. I'm gonna leave all my guns here. It's no good. Oh, like the Polar Bear Club. Nah, we didn't shoot naked. Too goddamn cold. The last year we did it 2 years ago. It was snowing. It was really fun. It was nice. It was it's out in the country. It was really pretty, but you know it, what's really neat too is some of the guys, the other members will bring some of their cool guns you want to shoot. The one guy had a 35 Whalen. The one dude brought his Garand. That was neat. Clover says deer, turkey, and hog chili. Yummy. I did a pork belly chili one year with Asian flavors. Like it glazed it, did like a Mongolian glaze. And I won that in a competition a couple of summers ago. Hemi says no money amount is worth living in New York or California. Yeah, that's tough. John says no, no, no. This is when we all moved to Gunchannels. Is Gunchannels opening up its own? Did they buy a bunch of land that we can go live on, like a like a commune, something? Bunch of bunch of gun nuts living in their own little world. Or else he's going out to pit for a fun bullseye in 2 weeks. PMSC range. PMSC. I don't know what that is. Doug says he has friends that have hunted in Idaho and they all loved it. You should. I don't think Matt Hunt. Yeah, Matt hunts, right? Matt hunts. NEA hunts. I think so. He hunts deer. Grim says he's in hell, so I know your pain. Where are you at, Grim? Where you live? Oh, Illinois. Is Illinois bad? Other than that's where those two companies are that we don't speak of. I mean, not to be confused with Pakistan. Yeah. Yeah, for real. They really shit the bed, man. You know, it's it's a bummer that they did what they did because they're both great companies. I think they had a lot to offer, the gun community as far as products go. And, you know, as far as if they would have stood by us as a gun community, they could have been great. It's a real bummer that they did what they did, man. It's sad. Because I've been really close to buying products from both of them, and I really, now it just takes the wind out of your sails. Yeah, why couldn't High Point have been one of those companies? Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, or something you can't afford anyway. Daniel Defense or something. There's no way I'm going to buy a Daniel Defense rifle anyway. Can't afford it. Palmerton, Mon, Palmerton, Monroeville Sportsman's Club. RL says. I'll have to look at that. Monroeville sounds really familiar to me. George said, Phoenix says because even High Point has standards. Yeah, apparently. Phoenix says his XDM is pre hashtag fuck Springfield. Yeah, it sucks. Gary says if Glock would have been one of them, half of the country would have been torn in two. Yeah, that would have shook things up, or Smith and Wesson or something like that. Can't imagine. I just don't understand. As big a company as they are, they both of them are, and they're so well known. They've got such a presence. How they didn't see that was gonna backfire. You know, I mean, just open mouth, insert foot kind of thing. 19 plus one Phoenix. It's a lot of firepower. Says Phoenix says, and his other Springfield is a U.S. Springfield Armory. Yeah, I mean, I just it it's I know a lot of the guys they believe like just if you buy used, go ahead because the company's not getting the money. And I kind of want to think that way, but at the same time, I feel like if you're buying it and you're especially if it's a carry gun or something, people ask you what you carry all the time. You know, I mean, if you just have it as a range gun or something, people say, "Oh, what are you shooting at the range?" You can just not, who cares? You just tell them whatever. But if it's your carry gun, people are like, "Oh, what do you carry?" If they see it or something like that, and "Oh, it's an XD." You know, I just you're still promoting them, which kind of sucks. But I don't fault somebody either. I think if it's the right gun for you, I think you should do it. You know. Hemi says there's a badass champion operator lightweight commander for sale in my town. It's a badass gun, but I can't do it. Who makes it? What make is that? Commander that make it a Springfield? Yeah. Heh. Gizzard Gary. Oh, Clovertac's back. We can start talking again. Clover, we were really quiet and we were just waiting for you to come back. Gizzard Gary is here. Oh my god, and he's pink. Gizzard Gary. Yeah, Clover, did you go get a sandwich? No, no BS. We were very quiet. We were playing some nice, soothing music, and we were just reading quietly to ourselves till you got back. And now we're ready to talk again. So, what do you want to talk about? It's all you. Hey, Landron89 is here. What's up, brother? What's up, buddy? Phoenix, we were not talking about Clovertac. Jesus Christ. Hey, Sean Callahan's here. What's up, buddy? The Ruger thing wasn't what most people think it was. What do you mean by that, Hammy? What did I miss something? Somebody talking about Ruger? Oh yeah, Smith and Wesson and Ruger both have sordid histories, also going all the way back to the 1940, the assault weapons ban. I don't know much about it. I've heard stuff. I've heard that it was misconstrued. Ruger had a, how should I say it? Ruger had his heart in the right place. Was it Bill Ruger? I believe it is. I think that was the mag restriction thing, though. That wasn't assault weapons. Yeah, Bill Ruger thought you only needed 10 rounds. But wasn't that the story I heard was that was almost like they were giving up the mag restrictions to stop them from going against something else. I don't remember. I can't remember the story. I heard it on Yankee or NEA's show. I think one day they were talking about it. Land Run says, Clover, got your package, brother. Who's talking about Brokeback Mountain stuff now? I don't know. RL says, "Oh, for him, no, it really wasn't. And Bill Ruger hasn't been around in years. People still trying to hold it against him." Yeah, I mean, people make bad decisions, even if it's not like I said, it was his heart was in the right place kind of thing. I mean, you can't crucify a company forever. I don't know if it's still is Ruger still a family-run business or I don't know. I would assume it was. I would think that his kids would have taken over, but I don't know anything about him, so who knows? But you can't. I mean, they say time heals all wounds. I think it does for the most part. And with Springfield and Rock River, I mean, I think most of us, I know I would, I could forget about I could forget about it and move on if they would have just been honest about it and said, hey, we jacked up. We really effed up here. We're trying to save our own hide, or we thought if we did this, we could save face or whatever. I don't know. I could get behind that and say, okay, well, let's move on because I think they're good corporate. I think they're good companies. I think they can make good products. I have no idea what the hell is going on in this chat anymore. Everyone wants the Clover package. I don't think I want a Clovertac package. No. Oh God, John's doing YMCA. Gizzard Gary. Gizzard Gary. Too much. RL says you should do your next lawn chair chat in chaps, Clovertac. Man, oh man. Assless chaps, lawn chair chat. Assless chaps, lawn chair chat. That's what you need to do. Grim 90 is that a dick in a box? That's a fantastic song, by the way. Dick in a Box. Lonely Island is the way to go. It's a great CD. Did I miss anything back here other than John singing YMCA, which is, I don't know, that's a little bit too much for me right now. The Blue Oyster. Clovertac, you would hang out at a place called the Blue Oyster. 04 Hemi, what's your preferred beer or drink? Are you talking to me or are you talking to these other heathens? Undulous chat with chef. It's a it's a it's a pants off cook off. Yes, all chaps are assless by definition. I suppose you're probably right. I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm a little scared to think that John might be naked at his computer right now. That's a little bit scary. Gizzard Gary says weenie roast. Nah, man. John Z says cock off. Nope, you can if you want to, but no, I'm okay. I'm not saying that, Sean Callahan. This is a family show. Clovertac says naked or nekkid. There is a difference. Location, I guess, would be difference. Uh, Location in the country. I mean, if you're here, you're naked. If you're down in Texas, I guess you're naked. I could see that. I could see that being the defining factor. Yeah. What's my preferred beer or drink? I'm not a beer drinker, um, all that much. Every once in a while, I will. More of a mixed drink guy. If I drink, I don't drink a whole lot anymore. Um, when my wife and I got together, she's not a big drinker, so I just kind of, whatever. But prefer vodka and bourbon. Probably my two go-tos. Like a vodka tonic with lots of lime. I always like that. Or bourbon, um, bourbon and Coke. But bourbon and iced tea I really like too. When I was when I was still drinking, we used to go out, hang out a little bit and bullshit. Bourbon and iced tea, a little sugar, squeeze a lime, really nice. It's not as heavy, you know. Not It's not real syrupy like like a rum and or like a bourbon and Coke and stuff. Sometimes gets kind of syrupy, like too sweet, you know. Landrun says cheap bourbon, whiskey, and pearl snap shirt. I don't know what that is. John says just put something in a glass, rocks glass, and I'm happy. Let's see. Cheap bourbon, whiskey, and a pearl snap shirt is a song. I don't know. Never heard it. Did I miss anything up here? Shit happens. Shit happens when you party naked. Yeah, it usually does. George says, "Aren't we all nude under our clothes?" I suppose so. Gizzard Gary says cooking wine. Sean Callahan says nekkid is south of the Mason-Dixon line. Yeah, I suppose that would work. Yeah. Yeah, so Pennsylvania, naked. West Virginia, nekkid. Makes sense. Phoenix says Coors beer brought by truck from Texarkana. Sounds like Smoking a Bandit. Food to guns to gay to naked. It's going south, Clovertac says. It's going south. That's a interesting way to say that. It's going south. Eastbound down, loaded up and trucking. We gonna do what they say can't be done. Metallica say Gizzard Gary. What does Metallica have to do with anything? Did you have a stroke? Do you have food poisoning again? Do you get a hold of some bad gizzards? Some bad meat stick? Phoenix says, by the way, that shit hit the fan story time is planned to be a zombie cannonball run with all the jokes that can be crammed into it. That is sounds like a winner all the way, buddy. That sounds like a winner all the way. Land Run 89, quick stop meat stick. Hell yeah. Oh, Gizzard Gary, Metallica was in reference to John Z's Nothing Else Matters remark. Okay. I must have missed that. Phoenix says, why is the John Z project typing with one hand? That's the sound of one hand typing. RL says to O4, careful mentioning goats. There's a West Virginian around here. O4 Hemi, Snowman, the great Jerry Reed. I have I don't have a whole lot of music on my phone, but one of the albums I do have is Jerry Reed's greatest hits. Great. Really cool stuff. Yeah, Tom Petty died land run. Does anybody? I don't know anything about it though. Um, Phoenix says who should be Fred? Jonas can be Fred. There you go. Was Tom Petty ill for any, or did he was? I mean, I know he was older, but um, was there any issues with him health wise? I know a few months ago or a year ago or whatever, he came out and made a statement that he was going to be done. He was going to be done touring. He's not going to tour anymore because he wanted to spend time with his family, his grandkids. Um, so, when I heard he died, I started thinking like maybe he was sick, maybe he had cancer, maybe something else, and he knew. Um, could be not too. I mean, it could have just been, out of nowhere. Yeah, Last Dance. Yep. Yeah, a few days shy of 67. Too young. Great life, though, I'm sure. Amazing. Jerry Reed was a genius, Sean Callahan said. Yeah. Jerry Reed, I, oh man, started listening to a couple of his songs after I watched. I love Smoking the Bandit. The first Smoking the Bandit's one of my favorite movies ever. And Jerry Reed's a big part of it. I mean, he did a lot of the soundtrack, that kind of stuff. If you've never really listened to Jerry Reed, go ahead and do it. I forget what the name of the greatest hits album I have is. He probably has a couple of them, but listen to it. It's really great. There's a lot of good songs on it. Jizzard, says John Z. Sean said he had the funkiest bass lines in country. Yeah, he was really cool. What's the one? She Got the Gold Mine. That's a great song. The one about the bird, the singing bird, that was awesome too. A bunch of them. Yeah, I got the shaft. No, Phoenix, we're not talking about Play That Funky Music, White Boy. Who Play That Funky Music, White? Was a Dark Cherry or something? Cherry or something? Yeah, I got the shaft. RL here says Gizzard Jerry is Gizzard Gary's porn name. All right, I'll allow that. Wild Cherry, there it is. Yeah, I've heard the Primus cover that. I used to listen to a lot of Pandora while I was driving. Um, I work every damn day. I'm in my truck a lot. Um, and I had been listening to Jerry Reed a lot, and I had Jerry Reed Pandora station on. It plays mostly country and whatever. And this song came on, and I was like, wow, what the hell is this? And I looked over it, it was Primus. It was Primus doing Amos Moses. Awesome. Really cool. Yeah, RL says cherry pie, warrant, and back to food. The circle is complete. Phoenix, Wynona's Big Brown Beaver. Yep. I saw Primus in concert when I was in college, back in '99. I guess it was at the Electric Factory in Philly. Excuse me. Which was if you've never been to the Electric Factory, it's kind of a little hole in a wally, a little hole in a wallish venue. They played with Incubus. Incubus opened up. It was before they were really popular. And then Primus, or I'm sorry, Incubus, and then Buckethead, and then Primus. And then Buckethead came out and played with Primus. Awesome. You're going to see Primus, Sean. That's awesome. Where are they playing? They've had, I would say the only thing that gets me with Les is he's in about 9 other bands. It's a little crazy. Like Oysterhead, what is it? Frog Brigade, Oysterhead. Um, oh God, I don't know. Literally, he's in like 6 bands. Oh, the Keel Center in St. Louis. Very cool. Who are they playing with, other than each other? If you don't know it, too, a lot of people don't. I mean, Primus is only 3 members. They do a lot of. They have a lot of sound for 3 guys. It's really cool. But if you've never seen him live, it's kind of hard to picture his bass. His bass is monstrous. It's what is it, a 6-string or a 7-string fretless. It's just long ass big old bass. Um, it's just like a, and without the frets on it, it's so wide. It looks like a 2x4 with strings. It's crazy. John's singing to us. He's singing us lullabies now. Stuff from Appetite for Destruction. Phoenix is Rob Zombie, White Zombie, AC/DC, Aerosmith, Ozfest, and Garth Brooks covers all my concerts. There's some good ones, man. I've seen Aerosmith. I've never seen AC/DC. I really would have wanted to. And it's a bummer that they're not whole anymore. We had my wife and I saw Motley Crue 2 years ago on their last tour. That was awesome, super cool, and in Hershey, that was really neat. Rob Zombie is really cool. Seems like a cool guy. He's a little weird, but I'm a big fan of the horror movie thing too. Obviously, because my shit hit the fan story time was a horror. Was my one of my things was always I always wanted to write a horror movie. So when the shit hit the fan story time on Matt's channel started to get popular, I took advantage of it and I wrote it as a horror story. So I thought that was really cool. That was a neat opportunity. Korn is on tour. Oh God, Gary Gizzard. Oh boy. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Kansas, Pat Benatar, Styx, Asia, 38, Special Lone Star, Diamond Rio, Matchbox 20, and Semisonic. Styx, I like Styx a lot. Pat Benatar, great. John's still singing. Or else it's damn your old Gary. Gary's Gary's not old. He's aged, well aged. I mean, he was there when the three wise men were playing and singing songs to little baby Jesus in the manger. I mean, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Hemi says GNR is overrated. GNR in their heyday, I would have loved to see. I bet that was a damn show. It was probably crazy. Sean Callahan says Lita Ford Dunn smacked the wall. I haven't seen her in years. Van Halen is greater than GNR. I guess. I mean, I think you're supposed to say yes, but I don't know. I think it depends on what you like. Van Halen or Van Hagar? Probably Van Halen. I hate David. I don't hate him. I'm not a big David Lee Roth fan though. I think he's annoying as hell. Yeah, John Van Helsing. That's right. I'll go with Van Helsing. hmm Land says Vans. Van Morrison, Van Hagar, Haagen Dazs, whatever. No, we're not blinding anybody with science, George. No, we're not going to do that. Not tonight. Sorry. Although I always thought that guy, talk about food chat, that guy from The Blinded Me with Science looked a lot like Alton Brown. You know who Alton Brown is from Good Eats? Always thought he looked just like that guy. Thomas Dolby. Yes, that's the guy. Looks like Alton Brown. One's kind of a food scientist, the other one's a music scientist, I guess you could call him. Yeah, Good Eats is a great show, for sure. Here, 1 second, guys. Gotta grab a drink. All right. Oh yeah, but oh yeah, Good Eats. Good Eats is a great show. Good Eats is a fantastic show. Um, it's if you've never watched it, it's it gives you in layman's terms the science behind food and why things happen and why things do the way they do, and it's really interesting. It's definitely one of the shows that if you're into food, you probably watched. Definitely. John says he's been over the hill a while. Yeah, I'm right with you. I'm getting you. I'm getting there, buddy. I got an awful lot of gray here. Oh, for Hemi says Alton Brown should be the first person ever into the Food Hall of Fame. No, not not really, but he is awesome. He should be in there for sure because I think he did change. He definitely changed the way Food Network programmed and did their shows. But there's some huge, huge people in food history. Um, for him, he says no Justin Wilson. Yeah, Justin Wilson was pretty cool. Clover says Alton is very pro gun. I've heard that, but I've never looked it up enough. I should look it up. That would be a good one to look up. Um, but you want to talk about food superstars. Um, it's funny because some of the things that we think of as kind of being corny or whatever are actually pretty important, like Duncan Hines. Duncan Hines was actually really, really important. uh, he did like roadside eatery maps almost. Like he traveled the country and he ate at these different places and he rated these restaurants and told you where they were. And that's pretty neat. So that way, if you were if you were traveling, you could find out where you wanted to stop and if it had a good reputation or not. Um, so that was pretty cool. There's another one. There's a French, probably one of the most influential in French, is a French guy. Um, his name's Escoffier. That's one, if you're into food history, to look up. Gary Gizzard said Chef Boyardee. Yes, Chef Boyardee is actually a real guy. It's not spelled like that. It's spelled, um, I think it's spelled with an I at the end. It's Boyardee. Yeah. Um, yeah, Boyardee, something like that. And apparently he was a badass cook, man. Had a restaurant that was just really popular, super famous, but I don't know, famous, but really, really popular, well known. And eventually, he started selling. People wanted some of his stuff to go. They wanted to be able to make it at home. So he started selling these little, like brown bags, almost like brown bag lunches. Um, and it would have like a little container of his sauce and I guess some cheese and pasta. Like some of his pasta that he made was dried, and people would go home, cook the pasta, pour the sauce on it, hit the cheese on it, and you're done. And so that turned into this huge thing that it is now. Um, even today there's tons of products from them. You know, how I just made a chef. We just made a Chef Boyardee pizza last week, me and my son, just for something fun to do. You know, what's going on there, Chef Boyardee? Yes, he is. Hemi says, just like that other prick chef who's on steroids. Are you talking about? Oh shit, what's his name? From Restaurant Impossible. Forget what his name is. Landrun 89 says, I am a borderline certified chef. 2 years of school, 15 years of cooking. Phoenix says he's borderline certified, but it has nothing to do with cooking. So you're borderline certifiable. That's different. Yeah. John has over 40 years of eating experience. That I believe, and that is very important. Steve Irvine. Yeah, Hemi. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of opinion on him. They actually did a restaurant in Harrisburg a couple of years back. He was in, but you know, I don't know. Seems all right. Robert Irvine. You're right, Steve. Yeah, not Steve. Robert Irvine. Clovertac says Steven Seagal was a good chef and Under Siege. Really liked the filling he put in that birthday cake. Yeah, that was a good filling. What was her name? I forget what that chick's name was. Phoenix knows. Phoenix probably has a poster up on the wall. Eric or something. Yeah, that sounds right. What kind of food do you do there, Landrun? What kind of place do you own? Like you say you own a cafe, like American bistro-ish kind of stuff? What's it like? What do you got going on? RL says he doesn't need a poster. She's still in my highlight reel, like in that movie Hall Pass, where he puts it in the click click click, puts it in the spank bank. He says no, gas stationish. Chicken strips, Gary the Gizzard. You're a chicken fan, man. Gary Gizzard chicken. Gary the Gizzard chicken lizard. Phoenix says he might forget a lot of things, but he never forgets quality TNA. Yeah, it's easy to remember. Does stick in the back of your mind, right? That was a funny movie, by the way. If you've never seen Hall Pass, that was a good flick. Oh boy. So what do you think? Should we keep this open a little bit more, or should we call it a night? I gotta get up and make breakfast with the little guy in the morning. Gary's up for a while. Well, yeah, you're probably gonna be up all night running back and forth to the bathroom eating all those gizzards. Boo. Catfish like gizzards. We used to use those for catfish bait when I was a kid. We used to fish for catfish all the time. Catfish Gary Gizzard. There you go. We have change your name to Gary Gizzard, but we're gonna give you the prefix nickname of Catfish. Catfish Gary Gizzard. That's it right there. We did it. RL says, "What's breakfast? I've got a request for pancakes from the kiddos myself." Yeah, we might do pancakes. I don't know. We do French toast too. Lately, it's been oatmeal. Um, he's pretty young yet. He's under 3, so um, it's whatever strikes him in the morning. You never really know what you're gonna get. Landrun says he runs a ranch, so if you can cook, if you can't cook, you can farm. That's awesome. It's got to be cool to be able to produce your own food and then use it too. That's pretty awesome. Phoenix says, anyone remember Up All Night on USA? Yes, but I can't remember what shows were on it. I do remember it existing though. That's cool, Landrun. He said he serves his own beef. We actually just started working with a local um, farm that's doing Wagyu. They're growing their own local Wagyu beef. It's really nice. We've started using them for our burgers, and I just got a whole local Wagyu New York strip in last week for the restaurant. Hand cut, trimmed it and hand cut. We're doing like 8.5 ounce steaks. So good, so nice. Yeah, I threw my phone up on the shelf while I was cleaning the New York, just in case I'd want to throw it up onto YouTube. Throw it up on YouTube, put it up on YouTube. But I don't know if anybody would really be interested in it, watching me trim a New York strip and then cutting it into steaks. I don't know. You guys talking about movies and TV shows? Joe Bob Briggs did Drive Through Theater on Cinemax. Yeah, I do remember that. Phoenix says I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That is from They Live. They Live's a great movie. And it's got it's got Roddy Piper in it, which how can you beat that? It's also got the chicken that played Evelyn in Masters of the Universe, and it has they used the fight scene between Roddy Piper and the other guy in South Park. If you didn't know that. John says, I'll come over tomorrow and you can cook it so everyone can watch me eat Wagyu live. Yes, we will live stream John eating a steak. And you know what? I guarantee I will probably break 500 subs by the time you're done with that steak, I'm sure. I couldn't imagine not. Yeah, RL, Jimmy and Timmy. If you watch the Jimmy and Timmy fight, the cripple fight, cripple fight, the cripple fight between Jimmy and Timmy, it's modeled after the fight from They Live. Now we're getting in the South. South Park just opened up. Fish sticks, some salty chocolate balls. Sean Callahan says Evil Dead the musical just opened. Really? I have to look that up. Get out of my shitty walk. Oh, that and the damn Mongolians. Those damn Mongolians trashed my restaurant, stole my shitty cash register. No, I've never made a turducken. Um, I've done some stuff. I've done some things like that, but never to that scale. Usually, just boning out like a chicken and rolling it around like a stuffing or some sort of well, stuffing, but not necessarily bread stuffing. But you sometimes you roll it and you do almost like a sausage filling or something, um, and then truss it and roast it, or you can also wrap it and poach it, which is like a galantine versus a ballantine, and then you slice them. That's an old school French thing too. Um, but I've never done a turducken. And I mean, there's some crazy freaking lunatics out there that are going like they'll start with a quail, then they'll go to a duck, then they go to a chicken, a turkey, a pig, and a cow, or something like that. I mean, they're turducken durkin cows or something. I don't know, pig and cows. Hog, I guess a hog would work. I don't know. Landrun says Russian Dolls, Callahan. Yeah, but that's a great show. Ash versus the Evil Dead. Good show. No, yeah, roast. Yeah, goats. There's nothing wrong. People have these real misconceptions about um, some game, quote unquote. Like I would say, goat would be kind of like game, where it's a little strong, um, dark, rich meat. I love it. I've always been a fan of it. Bison, venison, elk. Um, I like that dark, rich flavor. Phoenix says possum is not game. Possum is game. Why not? Why wouldn't it be game? Just because you don't want to eat it doesn't mean it's not game. RL says, okay. RL says, I've tried jerked goat before. No West Virginia. I don't. I they're that's and of course Gizzard Gary says they jerk goats in West Virginia. Yes, I guess they jerk goats in West Virginia. Callahan says there's no room, or there is room for all God's critters next to my mashed potatoes. True. Clovertac says no, possum is not game. I just because and he says it has to have a license to be considered game. I don't know. I think if it's something you want to hunt down and hmm, you're working with technical answers, and I'm working with with just gut feelings that I think possum is game. Sorry. John's leaving. Yeah, I think we're gonna cut. I think we're gonna shut it down here pretty soon, John. So I doubt you're gonna miss much. Possum is gamey, probably. I mean, they're ugly as shit. They might as well be gamey. I've never had it. Phoenix says Rattler isn't bad. That I would try. That I was. I've never had snake, and I've always been interested to try it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he says possum is fugly as hell. It sure is. They are gnarly little creatures, man. Gator is good. Gizzard, Gizzard Gary, Gizzard Gary says Gator is good. Oh, he didn't. He just said he's had it. Well, what did you think of it? You didn't say you had it, but you're not going to tell us if you liked it or not. Come on. Yeah, he said he liked it. I liked it too when I had it. We used to do it. We're talking about cornbread. We used to do a or cornmeal. We used to do a cornmeal bread. We toss it in. We do flour, egg wash, and cornmeal. We do a little Cajun seasoning in them too to get them a little spicy, and then serve them with like a Creole aioli, like a little Cajun mayo. They were good. Phoenix says I had fried gator once, but the Cajun place hot sauce burnt all the taste buds, so I couldn't tell what the hell it tasted like. Yeah, it's that's my problem with super hot food too. Is all you're doing is tasting hot. Like you could eat a chunk of styrofoam and put some hot sauce on it, and you're not really. That's all you get anyway. Why not? Why bother with putting it on something tasty? Hemi says smoked black tip shark is amazing. I like shark. I would imagine that smoking it would be nice. I didn't. I've never done it. All right. Yeah, fire department's coming by. All right, I think we're gonna shut this sucker down. We're going for an hour and a half. Cops are here. Yeah, the fire department drove by. Well, no, the cops aren't coming for me, fortunately. At least I don't think so. Although, I guess if I guess you don't always know if the cops are coming for you, right? They just show up. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Try and do another one next week. Probably not. Yeah, it might be the ATF. I don't have anything that the ATF would want. Um, I'm gonna try, and Sundays seem to work out pretty good for me. And after Yankee is done, I don't think there's anybody else that does a chat. So um, once work settles down a little bit, work has been crazy. I've got a couple of new guys hired, but I'm still without a sous chef. So it's hard for me to get out of the restaurant. And that's again why, like I talked a little bit earlier about Patreon, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to do videos. I've been really stuck in the restaurant a lot. I've been 7 days a week. Um, Hemi says third shift Monday nights, Friday nights. It works good. Um, so I've been pulling a lot of like 12, 13, 14-hour days. Saturdays are like a 16-hour day for me. So it gets pretty nuts. Um, it's just a lot of time. So Saturday, once things hopefully settle back down, it could be Saturday night if I can get out of work early enough. Um, once it slows down, if I can cut out, once I have a sous chef. Um, or if the if the owner babysits for me while I'm gone, we'll see. Uh, or Sundays after Yankee. Um, so we'll see. It is kind of nice to piggyback off a Yankee a little bit. Um, you you can throw in the chat. I can throw in the chat a couple times if he doesn't mind um, spamming his chat a little bit. I might send him an email and see if he's cool with it. I don't want to step on his toes, and see if maybe we can get a couple of new viewers. Although having 18 or 20 of you guys in the room is really nice. It doesn't go too fast. I can keep up with everything and I can answer the questions. And I mean, I don't care if there's 5 people in the room. If you all have 5 really good questions and it fills up an hour and a half, and great, you know. So we'll see. But what we'll do is we'll say for now probably Sundays after Yankee. Um, and if you guys have any comments, if you have any suggestions, or if you have any kind of input, really, let me know. And what we'll do is, I'll try and work on a little bit of uh, a little bit of a format for it. I'd like to, throw my shout outs, to my Patreons and whoever's in the room and all that kind of stuff. I like to do this show and tell. I think that's really cool to give you guys a chance to sort of gloat a little bit if you bought something new, and then something maybe called like the state of the channel, where it's like what's going on. How's the channel's doing? Where are my subs at? That kind of thing. But in the meantime, I really do. I want to get some more videos out there. It's just it's been tough. I gotta watch out for I gotta take care of the restaurant. I gotta take care of what I gotta take care of before I can do this. So the live chats are nice because it gives me something to put out there and get some feedback from you guys. So if you have any comments, let me know. Um, and until then, until next time, thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys later. I appreciate it very much. See you later. Bye.